All right, Debbie, inside the mind of the coach. You're a coach. I'm a coach. We're coaches. We're going to talk about it. PMP coach. So we're going to talk about, we're just going to have an open conversation because we spent all this time with students. And I figured it'd be cool just to let the students know about how we go about things. And I'm kind of interested to learn because we talk a lot, but let's talk about stuff. Before we do that, give a little background, like how long you been coaching, tell them anything they need to know, stuff like that. If you don't mind.
Okay. So um, I had to look back to see actually how long I've actually been coaching.
I know.
Just to kind of get an idea, I went through your program and passed the exam in September of 2021. And
Nice.
by January of that next year, so January of 2022, I actually started coaching with you.
Right.
So if you look at it, it's been almost over 4.5 years now that I've been coaching with you.
That's pretty long.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
I'm
know,
forever
and I didn't
grateful.
realize it.
I'm super great. So I got lucky with all the coaches and got double lucky with you. So it's been super great. What do you like the most about coaching?
I think what I like the most about coaching is that I like to, well, I like people to be successful.
Right.
And this program, I feel, and not in general, not just this program, but studying for your PMP, you really have to have somebody in your corner that's going to help guide you and be there with you. And I don't want to say holding your hand, but hold you accountable and keeping you in that clear path of what you're doing. Because as studying for the PMP is not the easiest thing.
No.
So you can just go array, and next thing you know it, you've spent 6 whole months and you haven't learned a thing.
Right.
So, what I like about coaching is that I like to hold people accountable for their own actions. But as I'm holding them accountable for their own actions, I kind of give them guidance along the way.
Right.
And as a mother, I think it's a motherly instinct is
Yes.
to kind of help people and guide people. And
I like it.
that's why I like it.
That's good. You're good at it. That's good. And so the accountability aspect is like, I don't know if it's unique to us, but it's definitely a giant part of what we do. I think like we don't give
Absolutely.
up on anybody. Like you've had people that have gone through in a couple. I mean, the fastest we've ever done is 4 days a couple times. That's crazy. Weeks. We had some 6, 7 weeks people recently. 10 weeks, easy peasy. And long. Patrina just passed. She's been with us for a little
I,
while. Like, which I'm super
yep.
proud of.
Yep.
Kim Trees just passed 2 seconds ago. Um,
Oh,
which is,
that is
yeah,
awesome.
yeah. She
She's
just
been with
called me
us for a
during
long
the.
time.
Yeah. She's been doing. Now she wants to possibly help. Who knows? Okay. So, like, when you're, why do you or how do you think like the accountability aspect like plays for most students? Like, some come to us and like teach us the information. Like, is it a thing that some of them have to get used to, or do they kind of fall into it? Like, what do you think?
Are you talking about for like a student to go to accountability a
Yeah.
coach?
Because like we're
Okay.
adults. We're all adults, and
Right.
it's like we don't get held. Sometimes we don't get held accountable. Obviously, I didn't prepare questions. This is pretty obvious.
It's
Like, but
okay.
like, but
Um,
like, yeah, to be held accountable as an adult by another
right.
adult. It's not your mom.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I think the one purpose and the one thing that I really like it about coaching or being a good accountability coach is that I actually help someone or help our students move from intention to consistent action.
Mm,
And with that, they have to have the intention behind being there in the first place.
right.
Because as well as I know, that if you come into this program and you're not holding your own self accountable, it's hard for us to make them accountable. So
Right. Yeah.
they have to be in the game in order
Yes.
for us to be successful.
That is very true. Like if they're not saying like, okay, I'm here to be coachable, I
Right.
have a goal. And a lot of people like that kind of thing that holds them back. I mean, it could be fear, I guess. Like we deal with a
It
lot of
is
fear. So and we're
absolutely
different but similar, right? All the coaches are
right.
different but similar. How do you deal with that fear? I mean, I'm sure there's not one way, but how do you deal with that fear of like, I'm gonna fail and all the other fears that they have?
So I find, and actually, I love that you just asked that question because Patrina and I had probably about 30-minute conversation
Okay.
yesterday. And she told me that one thing that she really enjoyed about me being her coach on the after, she loved AP, but then when she moved
Yeah.
from that cohort to me, she said the one thing I did to her is showed her that it's okay to be afraid and that we're
Yeah.
going to take those afraid things and make them to more tangible steps that we can overcome or get over that hurdle of being scared, or how can we make ourselves really understand what we don't know, because a
Mm,
lot of people go into the last part of this cohort or the program thinking I know everything, I'm going to pass the exam, without listening to us say no, you're not ready yet.
right.
With her, I felt like she was ready, but you can only be ready by knowing the material. Mentally going into this exam is also part of what I feel is important for us as
Mm,
accountability coaches to actually coach them on, is that this is a mental thing as well. And if you can't get past that mental block, you're not going to be successful. I mean,
right.
you can be the smartest person, but smart people fail this exam all the time.
Sometimes the smartest ones do, and we can pick them up way early where they're like
Absolutely.
fighting the system. You're like, I don't even know what you're fighting, dude. You just seem angry, like when you're going at it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So the
Yeah.
way I do it is I'm real. I break it down and say, hey, you've got to, well, you got to stick to it. You got to give yourself some grace. You got to do these things in order for you to be successful.
Right.
And I think that's probably just a good strategy of myself of being a really good and I say really good coach.
You
And
should
I
say
say
that.
I'm a
Yeah.
really good
Yeah, yeah,
coach.
yeah. You're a good coach. You're a great coach. Not a yeah, I'll disagree with you. You're not a really good coach. You're a great coach, right?
Well,
So,
thanks, Scott.
yes, ma'am. Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
My success rate I feel is pretty good.
I think it's pretty darn good. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm happy with it. So that's good. I mean, that's good. I asked Matthew this, and I'm interested in your question. I know that like certain students stick out in our minds, like memorable students, right?
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite type of student to coach? Like in a theme kind of perspective?
So I think the students that I like to coach is, and believe it or not, I mean, we always say don't ask, a lot of people growing up say, oh, don't ask too many questions. People get
Yeah,
annoyed when you ask too many questions. For me, it's different. And this particular type of program, the more questions you ask gives me the validity to know that you know the material. And so
right.
the more questions I look for that person that's going to challenge me and ask me a lot of questions because I'm learning as well. So
Right.
that is probably the student that I really like, that inquisitive mind, the one that's going to ask all the questions. But sometimes I love the ones that don't. I find them the challenging ones. And
Right.
I love taking a challenge and saying, I'm going to get you to pass whether you like it or not.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Yeah.
So
I mean,
I
that's
mean,
good because I've given you some tough rooms. Like I've given you
you
like,
have.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Like, hey, these, I mean, sometimes like these are three or four people that are, fighting the system or those are, I find that, I don't know about you, the fighting the system people, you can be a little bit more real mostly with them. And you can kind of get you and me and just say like, hey, like, let's just be honest, dude. Like, this is what we see. This is what's going on. Let's be frank with it. And sometimes it goes rough. I've lost a lot of rooms like, in the past, but, not as many recently. But like some of the people that just don't have the confidence, aren't willing to participate, those are sometimes a little tougher because you gotta pull it out
Yeah,
of them. And there's like the cajoling a little bit, like in a positive way.
right.
Um, yeah. Like, is there
So
like, go ahead. Yes, ma'am.
I
Yeah.
was just gonna say, so like recently, as you know, we had a student
Mhm.
um, who who came back after the entire program and said, "Oh, this wasn't her learning style.
Right.
That this
Oh,
program
interesting. Yeah.
wasn't her type of learning style." So you asked me to talk with her, and I talked with her, and the first thing I said to her was, "Would you, as an educator, want to hear the same thing that you were saying to me? How would you react?" And she just looked at me and she said, "You're absolutely right. I wouldn't want to hear my students say this either." And I said, "Well, then why are you saying it to me?"
Right.
And she just looked at me and she said, "Well, I get what you're saying now." I said, learning styles are different for everyone. However, we as educators have to find that style that we can coach to. And
Right.
so if you sat back in class and weren't participating because you weren't comfortable, then it's up to us to bring it out in you. And you have got
Right.
to be there and be able and willing to follow the direction that we're giving you.
Right. Like a lot
Yeah.
of times
And
we won't. Yeah. Keep going. Yeah.
no, I was just going to say, and with her, I felt like I had a little bit of turnaround with her.
Right. I think she did have a great turnaround as we go. And it's just being honest and open to her. Sometimes I think that people are scared a lot of times, and it's reasonable. Like we said, it's a hard exam. There's a lot on the line. And it's easier to like say everybody's against me, like in life. I've done that for years. Like it's been self-defeating. And like if they're willing to say, I'm gonna be open to learning. Like we're gonna meet them wherever they are. Like that's the thing I was talking to some guy this morning about is like, dude, like wherever you are right now, I gotta find where you are, and my job is just get you down the next step and the next step and the
Exactly.
next step. But if you're not willing, if you're saying like, I don't need this, I don't need that, it's like, dude, I'll just be honest with you, you don't know what you need, and I don't know what you need yet. It's like let's go on
Right.
a discovery path together. But if you're so
Yes.
definitive, and I don't want to be negative, then there's no path of discovery. And so a lot of the things that I think are fun when I watch your calls is that you're kind of taking it in. There's a lot of like questions that you ask them, but there's a lot of listening. Like how important is like the listening, like with our eyes and our ears from like a coaching perspective? Like how does that play in your like way of operating?
Oh, wow. That's a really good question because active listening is so important, not
Right.
just us as coaches, but for students as well.
Hmm.
So, with me, when I use that active listening back and forth, I mean, I'm looking for, am I looking at excuses or are these really obstacles
Right.
that the students are having? So I do look at that, but I also look at and listen, active listening for where their gap is or the gap of their understanding.
Yeah.
Do they really understand it, or if they do understand it but they're just not confident about it, is kind of two different things. So I listen for that as well. The other thing that I look at, and I know I've said this to many of my students several times, is that you get to a point where that you have studied too long. So
Yes.
I can hear it, and not just their frustration, but just in the way that they are kind of like giving up, that they're burnt out. And
Yeah.
sometimes they have to just take a step back
Right.
and take a few days off and and take some breathers and then jump back into the game,
Yeah.
but if we didn't use that active listening as coaches,
Right.
um, I think it would really be hard for us to be able to come across that we're confident in what we do as well.
Right. Because we have a lot of data in the back. We see when
We
they
do.
watch, what questions they got right, wrong. We can see the live questions. We can basically see everything. Heck, if we wanted to watch
Yes.
all their mouse movements, we can see that too. But like that creates the foundation that we can just have an like an open canvas, like the way they present themselves, the way they hold themselves. Some of the fun things I think for us, I think you and I and Matthew and some of the more Benita, some of the coaches been the longest is like hearing the way they solve questions and just the patterns. It's like, I mean, I don't want to let the cat out of the bag. The faster they go, the slower I go. Like the slower they go, the fast. Like it's just like because they're just trying to get by, and it's like, do you know what?
Yeah.
Just walk me through what a cumulative flow diagram is, and in a nice way. They're like, ah, gosh, I knew you'd ask me that question. Yeah, dude, because you like skated by it. Like if they know something, they're gonna tell you. So it's like it
Yep.
becomes very clear after a while, like where the weaknesses are as we go. Um, you see a lot of coaches and you vet a lot of coaches for me, like with
I do.
us. Yeah. And I
Yep.
trust your instincts deeply, right? When
Thank you.
I am a very like, let's roll them dice on everybody, right? A lot of times. A lot of times. I'm looking for twinkles in eyes. And sometimes, yeah, yeah. Sometimes you're like, hey, I picked something up. that you didn't pick up, or Misty? Um, let's not go the negative route. What are the personality types? Because we're not all the same. What are the personality? Is it personality types or a way they go about things? What do you think makes a great coach or our kind of coach?
Well, so once again, that active listening
Yeah.
is real important. Having clear communication,
Hmm.
and my biggest thing is when a new coach comes in, they have to be willing to join the team because we
Yes.
are
Uh,
we're established team, and so they have to be able to become a good teammate with us, just like
right.
any job. I mean, you have to be able to become a good teammate. What I find challenging is for some of those that we have had, and once again, I'm not going to try to go negative
Yeah,
on
yeah.
it,
I know who you're talking about.
but
It's okay.
but if they jump in and think they already know everything and are not willing to take in some of the seasoned coaches like myself or Misty or Benita or Kelly, take some
Yeah.
of our our we've had our growth patterns are well as well, but we're here to make you successful. And
Right.
so the ones that jump in and want to hear and understand and learn from us to see how to do it, then I think that that is what's going to be a good coach. The ones
Right.
that jump in and think, oh, well, I already know everything and I don't need to listen to what you say, are the ones that we need to vet and not waste
Yeah,
our
yeah, it
time
becomes a
with.
short-term engagement. Yeah, well, we have a very, I think we have a pretty dang high hit rate, and they're like we've had coaches for a
We
long
do.
time, and the beautiful thing is like everybody's a practitioner,
Yep.
and like so they're bringing that experience, like where you were at the yard and with the cranes and me in these different places, like bringing all that in. We even had one coach like a lot of potential, doing really great, like that Misty talked to recently, and I think it went pretty dang well. It was a little tune up, positive tune up. Like the
Yep.
engine moves fast, but she got it tuned up. And so I think it shows respect to say,
I
hey,
do
we're going to
too.
take the time to talk to you about what we've observed. Like Misty's job is to watch coaches now, pretty much.
Absolutely.
And that's kind of fun
Absolutely.
because she's,
It is. And she's
tuning that.
perfect for that role. So
Yeah.
I'm glad I forced you that way.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And so that's good as we're evolving. I mean, I understand my own
Exactly.
weaknesses. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And as we go in there. So
I
like
think the
as we
other thing with also being a good coach also is that, we have to, people just don't, you don't get credibility you right away. You
right,
have to earn that credibility and you have to earn that respect. Um, so if you just jump in and, like I said, and act like, oh, I know everything, I don't need to learn from you, then you're really not showing probably the respect or the credibility that you have. And
true.
a lot of times as coaches, we have to have that credibility behind us because
Right.
I don't want to learn from somebody that I don't feel knows what in the heck they're talking about.
Yeah, they're not some like ivory tower book thing, like, in a negative sense, a college professor that like hasn't ever run a business or run a project or run anything. It's like
Yeah.
I mean, there are physical examples of things that you've had installed, like in the world, like big things, like out there. And, we build all our own software, like all our own software. And so there's
Right.
no one to blame but us. And
Exactly.
it's good to learn from that. The other thing I think is I just thinking about the software side, like in our the 10-week cohorts, we bring in Alex and to talk about stuff. And like it's I don't know that I know I'll be willing to say it. No one in the world in PMP coaching brings in their developers, if they even have them, like to explain where we are, what we're doing, and how we do it, and the warts and all. Like I
Absolutely.
think you said that's like your favorite class.
It
It's
is.
you and me talking to Alex, the
Right.
scrum master who leads the devs, whatever. Why is that your favorite of all the classes?
So a few reasons is, well, because I think Alex is one of the best boys in the back. Okay.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, he
you
is,
know,
yeah.
but I think it really shows our vulnerability as what we do as well. And if we can bring in different aspects of what the whole program is and
Yeah,
show people that, we're not here just teaching you, we live by this as well.
Right.
And by doing that, we're bringing in like Alex, showing exactly what we do and giving them a really good idea about what how a scrum team works and
Yeah.
what it is like being a scrum master. And better yet, even I know on the last time he brought in, I asked him, I said, how, a question I asked him in front of everybody. I'm like, so how do you handle the difficult product owner? I
Yeah.
mean, not
Okay.
that
I
you're
didn't know that
difficult, not
because I
that you're
wasn't on in the
difficult, but
call. Yeah. Okay. So what did he say about how to handle it? First of all, difficult. I think if it's inspired product owner, I call myself
well,
inspired. I mean, no,
exactly.
whatever.
Well, I mean, it
Passionately
wasn't,
creative. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
you
But how
know
to?
what I mean. So I
Yeah. Yeah.
wasn't
Yeah.
saying
I
you
know.
were difficult. I was just saying, in
Yeah. Yeah.
general, how do you handle, a different difficult product owner that um is always well, doesn't want to listen. And that's not you. You
Yeah.
you are always listening. You always take suggestions. You're always willing to make something, I can give you just a boop 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 and you're like next thing you know, you're boop 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 boop,
Yeah.
so you could take a
Right.
little thing and make it this monumentous thing. But for Alex, it's a little different is that he has to, rein those ideas in sometimes. And
True.
and your brain works 150 miles per hour and you've already solved one problem and you're on the next and then you're on the next and you're on the next and Alex is
Yeah.
still
That's the problem. Yeah.
here. So it's I that was what I meant by how do you pull that product owner in, because you don't want them to be 150 steps in front of you. You've
Yeah.
got to be
I
able
mean,
to
he's
be in
got
front
like
of
we're
them.
getting a little bit into like so like the where we started with this was like the vulnerability of like being well.
Right,
You didn't know the answer. That was not a prescribed question. You're talking about
right.
me, by the way. And so like I am the boss. I don't know if anybody knows this, but like it could go real bad real quick if I was sensitive or whatever, or if he or it could show vulnerabilities like I hate this guy. But you felt comfortable to ask that
I did.
question in front of
I
him,
did.
like, which is cool.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes. Because I mean, I like what Alex brings to the team. I
yeah.
mean, Alex Alex joined the team after me, so
Right.
yeah, so I love, like, once again how we've all like molded into this great team. And I remember my first time with it. You put me with Benita on a call and said, just go listen to Benita. You're going to be great, blah, blah, blah. And
Yeah,
I'm like, oh my God, I'm nervous. And then my very first call by
yeah,
myself, I couldn't get my computer to load. I couldn't do this and I couldn't do that. And I'm like, oh God, this is really starting off great. But I just had to kind of like what I tell students. You got to take that deep breath. You got to figure out what your next move is. You have to figure these things out. You can't just throw it out. You've got to really understand what's going on. So I did that, got logged on, and of course, the thing about it was I had four shipyard students on my first call,
yeah,
and thank God I knew all four of them.
yeah. That
So
helps.
it kind of made it easier for me to know all four of them. But I had to take the training wheels off and just start going for it, and
Right,
I enjoyed that, and I enjoyed that challenge.
right.
And
I
so
think like
now,
every day, the kind of fun thing, it it's like every day with us, a little bit in the coaching calls is like day one. Because like a lot of times it's like, hey, we lead 10-week cohorts now, and we also have like the accountability side that Matthew and the rest of them run. And I participate in both. And you run, the Tuesday calls where it's like a lot of people at different spots. So you do both sides. Every call, there's some newbies, there's some oldies, there's some people that came in from the old days, some people. So it's like you have to give like that first day like enthusiasm or energy
absolutely.
every
Yep.
single time. So it's not like
Yep.
some droning class. Like I hear it all the time. Like people call me, I don't enjoy this because they're like, I'm in fourth week of a 8-week class and it's absolutely horrible. I'm like, so quit. Like quit, dude. Like be honest.
Right.
Like just quit. Who cares? Tell them to call me. Tell them you quit because of me. Like, they never do that. They should. It'd be fun. But
Yeah.
like, yeah, as we get in there, like bringing that energy to bring people in is super helpful. And I think it's like infectious. It shows like the humbleness that like, hey, I'm not
Absolutely.
just sleepwalking through this thing. And it keeps the enthusiasm up as we get in there. Like how, like you might have like a sixth sense of like, how do you know when someone's ready, like for the exam?
Oh, well, that's a good question. So typically, we look at we look at the stats, how they're performing on their
Right.
quizzes, during class. And, somebody could be just a poor test taker, but really know their stuff. And so the one thing that I do as well is that I try to take time and really ask some, leading questions or ask more questions
Yeah.
on top of the questions. And sometimes I'll be honest with you, I ask questions just to slip them up, just to see,
Yeah.
do they really know what they're talking about? And
Right.
then they just like, oh, you did that to me again. And I'm like, look, if I'm not preparing you for what could come your way, then I'm not doing my job. So
Right.
you need to understand that, instead of looking for this, look for this, or look for this, or look for this. So I think it's important that we look at everything across the board to find
Yeah.
out whether or not they're ready. And if their test scores are lacking, then we need to find out why. Is
Right.
it, do they really don't understand? Or is it the just the test environment? I mean, now we can give them all the tools, tips, and tricks that we know about sitting in a 4-hour exam.
Right.
But if they've got a true anxiety
Yeah.
about taking an exam, that's something that we can give, like, once again, we can give them tips and tricks, but they got to work that part out
Yeah,
themselves.
we got to
I
work it
mean,
out and we got to work with them. I was going to ask, do you think that people are bad test takers? Like a
oh,
lot of people
yeah.
come to me and say, I am a bad test taker. I correct them. I say like, you have been a bad test taker. I don't know that it is like, you might have, general anxiety or the second time I've said it out loud, like, I think I'm ADHD. Like I've noticed because like my son is like a lot like me and my wife's been researching, like we think he's ADHD. We're not, no medication or whatever. I'm not judging anybody, but like, and I'm like, oh, she's like, she realized it from him just because of the way I am, like all over the place. So like there are certain things like people have, but do you think that people are like bad test takers? Is that a thing you believe? I don't even know.
So, that once again, that's a really good question too, Scott. So do I think people are bad test takers? No. Do I think they built themselves up to believe that they are bad test takers? I think that is probably more the thing. Um, because if you're a bad test taker, or if you want to label yourself as a bad test taker, then that just says that you have no capacity to learn. Okay,
Hmm.
because you have to learn in order to be able to take a test, right? That's what test is all about, is learning or solidifying what we have just learned. That's what
Yes.
that's what tests are all
Yeah, yeah,
about.
yeah. You're ratifying a
So,
thing that you just learned. Yes.
exactly.
Yeah.
So, if you have not asked the questions whether or not they know what they're talking about, then it's not that they can't take a test or they're a bad test taker. It's just just anxiety.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
or or sometimes it's they just don't have faith in themselves to be
Right.
able to do it.
You
So,
mentioned
but
something
it
about
I
the, yeah, go ahead. Sorry, apologies. You're
no,
killing
I
it.
was just gonna say I don't think it's that they're a bad test taker because I really don't think like you said, I don't think there's such a thing as a bad test taker.
Yeah, yeah. It's more of like, and you talked, I got excited about the label thing, like how they labeled themselves or whatever. What did you mean by that?
So, like, if I walked in and said, Scott, I'm a bad test taker, okay? I mean, first of all, I'm labeling myself as saying that I'm so bad that I can't take a test because I can't learn.
Right.
To me, that's what I'm saying in
Yeah.
all reality. I mean, yeah, I might be I might not be able to concentrate. Okay,
Yeah.
so is that really what the real reason is that you're a bad test taker? Is that your concentration level is not there? But
Right.
that doesn't mean that you're a bad test taker. You might, once again, know everything that you need to know, but you just don't have the concentration level. So instead of
Yeah.
saying I'm a bad test taker, just say, I can't sit and concentrate for that long.
Yeah, I have a
So,
difficult time doing it. In the past, I had a difficult time. I need to find a way. Then, like from like the, if we can get the students to get off of that definitive I am a blah blah blah. Now I'm cool with like I am unstoppable.
There
I
you
will
go. Yeah,
never be held back. I'm like, yeah, let's be
absolutely.
definitive with a humbly progressive nature. Like I can learn anything if I just stick with it. I'm going to if we're on that side of the
Yep,
street, rock and roll all day long. But if it's like I can't learn, this style doesn't work for me. Like I must do this. It's like, nah, bro. Like you are just
exactly.
closing doors out of fear. Like, so
Absolutely.
yeah. I think
Absolutely.
that for me, like going doing this like every day is like that is the part that I enjoy the most. Yeah, teaching Agile's fun. That's cool. I dig it. I like the Agile. I like the Alex thing too. I love showing what we build and hearing about what he thinks about me. That's fun. But like I like the transition from like yeah, I like the transition from I can't to ain't nothing in this world gonna stop me. Like
Right.
that's why I cry on the calls. Like that's the thing that is the best part about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's cool. Um,
Absolutely. I mean, that's actually another really good trait of being a good accountability coach or a coach in general is that your vulnerability of being passionate
yeah,
and people see that
right.
um and that's kind of what Patrina said to me. She said, every time I talked with you, you had passion to
Right.
show me that I had faith. You had faith in me. I need to have faith in me, and I need to give myself grace. But
Yep.
if we don't show that sometimes, once again, our students see it. So we need to
Yeah.
show it ourselves. I mean, I used to tell my students at the shipyard all the time, if I walked into a meeting and I walked in being Debbie Downer and I
Yeah.
walked in going, oh God, another meeting today, how are people going to react to you?
Yeah.
Not very good. So
Yeah.
I feel like what we do, we have to come in on our A game every single time and show that we have passion being
Yes.
here and that it is important for us to show that once again. And with that, I mean, I love that, we all coaches, we can put chat, our while you're talking, we put things in the chat and we
Yeah.
can, chat back and forth and stuff like that. But um, I think it's important that, and I know we talk about this all the time, but it's hard for us sometimes to be passionate when we can't see people's faces.
That's very true.
So
They got to turn the camera
being
on, man. Yeah.
being being on camera is so important. And I push people all the time. I have told people on my accountability calls on Tuesday, we're going to have a one-on-one tonight, and you better be on camera.
Yeah.
If you don't come on camera, we're not going to do this because
Yeah.
I need to understand and see that you understand what I'm talking about.
Right. Because you can feel it in their body, their eyes, and like, over here checking the phone, doing the whatever. I mean, I got kids and other stuff and busyness like everybody else, but like locking in and doing it is important. These are
Absolutely.
skill, like we do this whole conversation. We haven't talked about the structure of a boot camp or slides or blah, 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 all these different things like that one would think. It's all how the people, how we arrive, how we listen, how we talk, how we hold accountable and then the other side. So if you're leaning in, they're leaning in, then like there's really it just doesn't matter. It's just a time thing. Is it going to take 10
Right.
weeks, 20 weeks, 5 weeks? We're going to do it. Like and there's a concept like my son I'm raising boys with my wife and like, you've raised kids. Like so
Three
I'm younger
boys.
in the learning as a parent and like I'm on my kids on a baseball team and like they're very competitive or whatever. And some of the parents get upset when we lose. And I'm like, okay. And it's helped me realize something. And like, they're like, I like to win. And I go, that's cool. I can dig it. And it kind of goes back to like, we have session hard questions made easy. They're
Okay.
hard questions. You're going to miss them. Just like a baseball game, we're going to lose. But when the parents are saying, we lost 8-5, whatever, we lost. It's definitive. One. I'm like, dude, that's the only scoreboard you see out here. Like the only
Right.
scoreboard is 8-5. No, dude, there's a thousand wins and losses every day. how the
Exactly.
kids approach themselves. Some kids cry when they make mistakes. Some kids chest goes back. I'm like, that's a win. I care more about that than I do about 8 to 5. And the same thing is
Yeah.
when they lose, when we miss questions, hard questions, it's like, yeah, you got it wrong. I don't care. I care about how you went through the question. I care about the
Yeah.
confidence in your voice. A lot of times I'll joke to say, I like everything about that answer, but the question mark that you put at the end. Like, because like that, like,
Absolutely.
yeah, like that little doubting thing, I'm cool with that. So, like, the 1,000 wins in every opportunity is kind of, I think, one of the philosophies that all the coaches kind of live for. It's not like you got a question wrong, go sit down. I'm sad for you, dunce cap. That ain't the way it works
Right.
for us, you know?
No,
Yeah.
does
Yeah.
not. I love that you use that the whole baseball thing about the wins and losses, because that was another thing I used to talk about in when I at the shipyard when I taught
Yeah.
the class at the shipyard was is that I used to talk about when t-ball
Yeah.
t-ball kids would go out in the field, and and the first thing that they wanted to do was they go out and they pick flowers, and
Yeah.
they swat bees, and they do all of this. But what important part of that whole thing is the coach bringing the team together and saying,
Right.
okay, you might have missed that ball, but what did you learn from that? Or
Right.
you might have done this, or what did you learn from that? But it starts with that early concept of we're a team and we're going to work together.
Yes.
And just because Billy missed the ball because he was swatting a bee or a fly
Yeah.
doesn't mean Billy was any less of a teammate than somebody else. And I
Uh,
used to talk about that a lot. And so I love that you brought baseball
Yeah. And I
into
think
it
like
as
like part
well.
of like what we're trying to do with like the students is to get them to be more fluid in like what
Yes,
they believe so that we can start to understand and we can that's malleable at that point. Like, okay, where
absolutely.
is that idea coming from? Oh, another baseball example. I was dealing with, well, I won't tell that one, but like they're like what how the people are perceiving and saying things like where is this idea coming from? So if we can have people be fluid enough and confident enough and vulnerable enough, go back to like the Alex little thing to
Yep.
say, oh, this is the realities of how we learned how to develop stuff. If they're thinking about how
Right.
they're solving questions, then like we can work with that. We can help them guide through it. But if they're not willing to share, if they're not willing to be fluid, if they're putting that wall around themselves, then it's really hard to develop somebody. Like all
Right.
the how you do Scrum ain't working. Let's just make sure it's not a successful student. Uh, is not going to hit if they're not open to like being fluid. And we try to create that fluid environment a little bit. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah,
that's
I
cool.
mean, we create that encouragement, and
Yes,
while we're creating encouragement, it helps people gain confidence,
yes,
and with that confidence, there's momentum, and with that
yes.
momentum, there's independence and consistency. So we have to start off with that encouragement, like you just said, because if we don't do that, people some people need that little push of encouragement
I
to believe that they can do it.
because on the
And
exam they're with us and with their buddies and the coaching calls. There's like a feedback loop. There's like an encouragement. There's like a positive faces and the camera's on. One of the challenging parts that I believe that I can do better at in the course is saying, hey, and I'm going to build the videos for this very shortly to say, all right, you're going in alone. And I do have like pump up videos and stuff like you're going to go in alone. All right.
yeah,
You are going to feel like this, most likely. You can overcome this, but like you have to see yourself as like they always say, like I had Debbie on my shoulder, I had Scott on my shoulder, I had Misty on my
yeah,
shoulder, I had all these people on my shoulder. Like that I think I can do a better job at like saying that because like we're trying to get them to build momentum, like in the exam. Like
yep,
you said, like when I'll just ask a question, when you're coaching students, like what are the things you're telling them to do like when they get into the exam? Outside of like hit the things the right way, but like mentality wise, like how do
yeah.
they do it?
So the first thing I always tell them, and I know how I am, and
Yeah.
you know when you log on to an exam, you know, I just start hitting the buttons and just
Right.
let's go, because that's me. I want to just get it started and get it over with. But
Yes.
with this particular exam, I tell everybody, please,
I'm
Use
doing
the 7 minutes of the tutorial that you that is there for you.
yes.
And during that 7 minutes of the tutorial, even if you don't want to learn, how to change the color of the screen or do this, take that 7 minutes. Get your
Right.
breathing pattern down. Start inhaling and exhaling.
Yes.
That will help you lower your blood pressure. That helps you calm your nerves. So use that 7 minutes to your advantage before you hit go, before you hit
Right.
start. Then once you hit start, take the first 10 questions. Take a minute after those first 10 questions and rebalance yourself and rebreathe, start rebreathing, start rebalancing yourself, reset yourself. Because
Yes.
with those 7 minutes, the first 10, you were probably even more scared at this point because those first 10 always seem to be the hardest, but they're really
Oh, that's what they
not.
always say.
It's your
Yep.
nerves.
Yeah.
It's just your nerves. So take that few minutes or a few seconds, just do a real quick breathing, calm yourself down, talk to yourself, you got this, and then start over and then start again. So that the next 10 is a whole brand new test and you're now
Yes.
starting over again. So
Yeah.
I always tell people that, to me, that is a really uh, smart strategy to go in, especially if you're one of those people that say, I'm not a good test taker,
Right. It's going to get
or
even worse. But like, if they
right,
can do this, then
exactly.
like this is a thing that they can overcome. I have done that. A lot of times, like the smartest students, the one students, they're like, I could have got more wrong. It's like, no, 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 no. We have to go back and think about all the fantastic things. You stuck
Yeah,
to it, you overcame, you did what Debbie talked about, like maintaining your mind and your heart and like the breathing, and you were able to overcome like the mountain of stress and stuff there, and you succeeded. In the face of like a difficult world, they threw a bunch of questions, all the cats and dogs and everything at you, and you still succeeded. So like give yourself the positivity there and just enjoy it. And
exactly.
it's yeah. So they can take it on
Absolutely.
forever. Yeah.
I think
That's
I
good.
think the other part of this, and it's something that you had asked early on, was what did I like about the coaching part of this,
Right.
and the final thing that I want to actually say on this particular thing is that we have to believe in what we're doing in
Mm.
order to be a positive influence. We have to stand by it. So
Yep.
I would not be doing it for 4.5 years if I didn't believe or were passionate about the program you have put together.
Right.
So to me, that clearly shows that I, I may not be a stakeholder in your company, but I'm a stakeholder in the
Oh,
game,
goodness.
the whole
Yes, ma'am.
program itself. And I have to be an active stakeholder in this and show that I am um, enthusiastic about the program.
Yeah.
So to me, that is also what makes us a good coach is that we have to believe in what we're doing and what we're delivering. And I totally believe in the
Yeah.
program. So
We'll never go. And I couldn't say anything more how grateful I am for like you being a stakeholder and giving opinions and support and everything that we need and the students need and I need and everybody. So thank you infinitely, right? It's just great. And like as we go forward, we'll never hire outside coaches. Like
right.
we'll never hire outside coaches. Just I don't care how big we get. Like it just doesn't fit what we want to do. Like
No, it doesn't. It does.
yeah,
I totally agree with you. I mean, um, once again, I mean, when we go through these cohorts, I mean, me, you, Misty, we're thinking, okay, like, would this person be a good coach? Would they fit
right.
into what we see, that there can be a good team player? Are they going to have the same passion about what we're doing? Do they have this? Do they have that? So in all reality, we're not really just also getting them through this program, we're kind of putting them to the test as well to see
I
if
know it's kind of
they,
fun. Yeah,
I know,
it
it
kind
is
of
kind
holds
of
them at a
fun.
different sample. There are some people that
Exactly.
come in and we have to say no to because it's just like,
Right.
but I mean, I think one of the things is like giving them the opportunity. Like
Right.
they wouldn't have got to the point there. because it surprises you sometimes about what it is. And ultimately, like you said, if you believe in the product, if you believe in the way in which we operate, and you ultimately believe in the students, like I don't think any of us have ever given up on any students. And I'm like proud of that. Cause like, yeah, it's been tough. There's been some tons of magically, it's been a great experience for everything. But sometimes students like test you. And like
Yep.
you talked about, like, my learning style is totally different. It's like, okay, I don't think anyone's ever left us. This is not like a pat ourselves on the back. I don't think anyone's ever left us. Like to
Right.
go to like Rita or whatever. I don't think so.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
But I can tell you how many people have told me this is the third program
That
and
they tried.
it's
Yeah.
by far the best that they've ever had, have gone through. So
Right.
we definitely get the ones from those other programs, but no, I
100%.
don't think we've ever had anybody jump ship and go to one of those programs.
No,
So,
I mean, yeah, I don't think it is. And I think like we're still super duper like, I mean, making things better. I just showed you new, advances that we're making, and there's you got dev boys on both sides working, and I'm building new course videos and all kinds of stuff. So we're gonna keep getting better. I think this is great. This is let's call it on this one, Debbie. Okay, we'll do another one. I think it's been 7 hours now of talking, which is good. I got 5 or 6 questions, whatever. Just get your instant reaction.
okay.
What's the biggest PMP myth that you think exists in the world?
Um, I would say that all projects are the same.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. I like that. When you see students, what's the worst study habit that could really hurt them?
Oh God. Um, Memorization. If they're studying to memorize, I think that kills the student for sure.
That's a bad one. Most underrated skill that makes students successful.
Um,
3 minutes.
hmm. I think the most underrated skill would be the ability to ask the right
Uh-huh.
questions. I
That's
mean,
good.
people think that they ask dumb questions, and you always get that. I'm going to ask a dumb question. No, so I think that's underrated. That there is no dumb question.
That's cool. I like that. Hunt, I don't know that you can read my writing. Come and read it. What does this say? What? There's a question. Can you read it? We're gambling, dude. Predicts student success. Oh, yeah, yeah. I like a doctor. What predicts student success? Yeah, in your mind.
um, in my mind, a student's success is um, their willingness to be successful. So
Ooh,
we can't make a student successful unless they're wanting to be successful. So it's got to be a two-way street. We can be successful with them, but they have to be willing to be successful as well.
that's super good. That's a good one to end on, I think. I think that's a good one to end on. Yeah. All right, Debbie, as always, super duper appreciate it. This is going to go out. I appreciate it. And if any students want to work with they're like, oh man, I like the way that Debbie talks about stuff. All you got to do is call us. All you got to do is reach out. We are
Yeah,
live and ready to go every week. And, that's the way it goes. So thank you so much. I hope you have a great weekend, and we will
I
talk
do.
very
Hope you do
shortly.
too as well.
Yes, ma'am. Bye
Thank
bye.
you.
See ya.
Bye
Bye.
bye.